Hello there, it's Phumlani Majosi, the host of the Phumlani Majosi Show, a show where we give you a Black conservative perspective on local and global socio-economic affairs. Remember to get yourself a copy of my book, Lessons from Past Heroes. It's available at bookstores across South Africa. So do reach out to a bookstore near you and get the copy of my book, Lessons from Past Heroes. It's a book written to inspire, a book that reminds that we are a nation with huge potential, and that if we get public policy right, decision-making right, not only at a governmental level, but also at family level, individual level, we would do amazing things as we continue to operate in a globally competitive environment. So it's a pleasure to be back. Two stories I want to touch on, and I do believe that they are very, very important. It's important that you get my perspective on them. The first one is, of course, our President Cyril Ramaphosa yesterday giving an address to the nation just hours before the election, ahead of the election. So he gave an address yesterday. Look, it was a campaign by the president. It was disgraceful what he did. It was the abuse of power. I do agree with those who say that it was an abuse of power. I do agree. They are totally correct. For the president to come out like that hours before people start voting in the country and campaign when other parties don't have such a platform is totally disgraceful. It's unacceptable. It's not good, and it makes our democracy look bad. The president, of course, who started out by basically appreciating the environment we have and the organizations, the institutions that play a big role in our elections, that are managing the whole election process. So he was that's what he was talking about when he started out, and then of course he went into now campaigning, basically laying out what his government did for the country, making the case for his government to be re-elected into power. I just want to check here where he started that. Started by, now he said many things as I've just laid out for you. Of course, acknowledging the democratic environment and the institutions involved in making this election a possibility. And then, of course, he went into campaigning now for his party. Now, that really is unacceptable. It's not good. It is the abuse of power. The president says, my fellow South Africans, this election brings to a close the sixth administration of our democracy. When this administration took office in 2019, our country stood at a turning point. We had endured a decade of corruption and state capture, of weak economic growth, and the erosion of our public institutions. Today, we have put that era behind us. We have placed South Africa on a new trajectory of recovery and laid a strong foundation for future growth. We have taken significant steps to reform our economy, by implementing a number of reforms that affect various sectors of the economy. He's really pushing hard to sell his ANC governance or his political party, the ANC. In tackling crime and corruption, we have introduced a number of initiatives and measures to reposition our criminal justice system. We have faced many challenges along the way, which have tested our resilience and our resolve. Yet, in each instance, we have confronted these challenges together. We have remained united. We have worked in partnership and in solidarity. Together as a nation, We brought state capture to an end, really. That is just pure campaigning. We dislodged the criminal networks that had stolen billions from our people, that had eroded our public institutions, and that had undermined the rule of law. You can go on. So, I mean, that is unacceptable, really, to sell himself like that hours before the election. I think that he did abuse his power, but it's not surprising. Hey, politicians are like that, especially when they're desperate for power, because they can see that they're likely, the numbers are clear that they are going to lose some serious support in this election, the ANC. So they are taking all kinds of desperate measures to try and win votes. We saw recently the president signing a series of bills into law. Of course, he was pushing that it does all of these things before the election. Why? So that he can somehow manipulate you and I, so that we give his party our vote. So politicians will always do that. We do preach that on this show, that politicians will always do anything that will manipulate us. The question is, are we smart enough? Are we wise up enough to say, no, you cannot do that to us. You cannot abuse your power, and then we let you off the hook. We don't hold you to account. We must see through their tactics, that these people are doing nothing other than to manipulate us for votes. As economist Thomas Sowell, whose book is just right here behind me, once said that, politicians, they worry more about the upcoming election, getting re-elected. Isn't that true? We thought we've been seeing with Ramaphosa, signing things like NHI, that nobody knows how this thing will be funded. It's a terrible system that will suppress and constrain the private sector healthcare provision. They want government to be the controller of healthcare. Totally naive, misguided by socialist ideas and dogmas that, by the way, they have never worked in any country around the world. I've always argued that the government should focus more on fixing public health care that already exists, and forget about the market. In fact, encourage the market, create conditions that the market, healthcare market, the private market, that it grows, it becomes robust, it thrives. That is very important. That's what the government should be doing. They should be believing in competition, not the state taking over. So very disgraceful what Ramaphosa did yesterday by using the State of the Nation address to campaign for his party. Now, what is very disturbing to me, and this has really made me go mad over the years, is that we have never seen Ramaphosa coming out to give an address to the nation on the very disturbing, shocking crime levels we see in the country. We've never seen Ramaphosa coming out to give a national address on that. Why is he not doing that when you have thousands and thousands of people that are being murdered daily, that have been murdered in the country? Why is he not doing that? When you look at the numbers, the number of people who have been killed, murdered, they've risen over the past decade at a very shocking level. This country it's a very dangerous country. It's got a crime crisis. Even the world knows that South Africa has a crime problem. I was in Israel last week, and some of the people I met, they raised the same thing, that part of the problem with South Africa is the very shocking, disturbing levels of crime, and it's dangerous, deadly crime that takes place. When will the president give a speech on that? When is he going to say, I am giving a national address on the crime crisis and how I'm going to tackle it? If he doesn't want to share the strategy, it's fine, but at least highlight it, that we have a fundamental, a very serious problem in the country. He's never done that. Instead, he chooses to do other things, to address the nation on BRICS, to address the nation on this a few days, or a few hours before the election, he decides to take the platform to campaign for his party. So our leaders don't take us seriously as a people. And when they don't take us seriously, we must hold them to account, folks. We need to hold them to account. Now, and we hold them where? At the ballot box, at the polling station. That's where we should hold them to account. Hence, it's important that you come out this Wednesday to vote and vote for change. I do believe that we are going to vote for change because we have seen the collapse of our country, where you have seen the pain we have gone through as citizens of this country. So you must hold your leaders to account. That's the first story, folks. Second story, Ramaphosa, it's Ramaphosa. This guy is really counterproductive. So on Saturday, Ramaphosa speaking at Siyangoba rally, the ANC's rally, Siyangoba rally, Ramaphosa says he chants, where is this? From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Yes, you heard me right. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. We all know how Jews feel about that, how the Jewish state feels about that, how the Jewish citizens of this country feel about that. We do know, because that basically, it's a call for the eradication, the destruction of Israel, the Jewish state. Why would our government, the head of state, get into something like that? That is so unacceptable. It's so juvenile in my perspective. I'm not sure what really entitles these people to take the side of Hamas like that. The Hamas people have their support of the ANC government and Ramaphosa. Why exactly? You can, if you want to support Palestine, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But to go as far as saying things that you do know that are divisive and really are a serious problem for the people of Israel. And by the way, it's one of the things that have made it very hard for the people of Palestine to get their statehood. So it's things like that. So we now, people like Ramaphosa and many others around the world, who chant from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. They are encouraging divisions, and they they're making it hard that something like a two-state solution will be seen. They're making it very hard, folks. I'm not sure why would our president chant something like that. It's a stupid, it's a naive, stupid comment that really shouldn't be said, especially on matters of foreign affairs, because they are a different beast. On matters of foreign policy, you have to be careful as a head of state that you don't say things that will come back to bite you. So that was unacceptable, what you said. If you are saying he supports Palestine and he wants them to have their state at some point, fine, you can argue that. But to call for the ending or the eradication of the Jewish state, that was out of line by Ramaphosa. I'm not sure why he said that, but I guess it's typical NC mentality and its socialist dogmas that Ramaphosa has never, ever renounced. There's this idea, I even seen mainstream financial news reports. People keep on saying, this is a guy who's a reformer, is a pro-market guy, and so on. Very, very, very few things that Ramaphosa has done that are free market. At a very high level, it's very fundamental stuff that needs to be done to push up our prosperity and economic productivity. Ramaphosa hasn't touched those. In fact, he's just gone further to the left. So it's very minimal, the stuff that he has done that is pro-market. Yet the mainstream media continues to say that he is a pro-market reformer. Come on, give me a break. Give me a break, folks. That's not what we see with Ramaphosa. We deserve better, as Douglas Murray, the British author, said when he was in South Africa. We deserve better as South Africans. We deserve better leadership, better governance, better economic outcomes. And we are responsible to making that happen. It starts with holding our leaders to account. Remember, I'm on X at Phumlani M Majozi. I have a website, phumlanimajozi.com. I'm also on Facebook, Phumlani M Majozi. I'm on LinkedIn, Phumlani M Majozi. I'm on Instagram as well, at Phumlani M Majozi. We'll chat soon.